Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today from Hasbro in their Marvel Legends line, we are featuring X-Men 97 Magneto. Alright, so as of this recording, it's January 14th, 2024, and we have yet to still receive the X-Men animated series on Disney+. It was supposed to come out last year, but it was pushed back. I grew up in the 90s. I think I was either a junior or senior in high school when the X-Men cartoon first debuted on Fox Kids on Saturday mornings. So for me, I'm excited for it. It's a really interesting time in my life to be being able to revisit, that specific period of the X-Men, especially in this day and age. I was kind of lukewarm about these figures to begin with when they first announced them. Partially because I kind of feel like, with Marvel Legends, I love the line, don't get me wrong, but some of these figures like Wolverine, I feel like I've picked them up like a dozen of times over and over again. But when I saw the line of figures at my local Target, they really won me over, especially the Bishop figure. I think that was a figure, that and Gambit really kind of sold me on the line. I was kind of going to pass on the Magneto figure until I was examining it up close, and there were some improvements on this figure that I'm like, I think this is a level or two up from the previous figures, and I think it really warranted a purchase, especially the cape. The cape is what really sold me on it. Like the previous Marvel Legends X-Men Magneto figures we've gotten, they're nice. I especially love the Jim Lee inspired one with the longer white hair. But the thing with that figure is that the cape is so thick and heavy that it's kind of a nuisance on the figure, whereas this one, it looked like they got the cape just right, and I had to give it a shot. So we're looking at Magneto here. Wonderful looking card back, very detailed. I love the character artwork, kind of really portrays that 90s X-Men style, especially with the heavy blacks and shadows. He comes with an extra pair of hands up here. I wish he'd come with an alternate portrait, without the helmet, but I'll take this one nonetheless. His wave mates include Wolverine, Rogue, Storm, Bishop, and Gambit. And all the figures that I've looked at so far, they've all been fantastic. I think with Bishop and Gambit being my favorites. But yeah, this is great. I love the pose they have Magneto in also. It's kind of reminiscent of, I think it was X-Men #1, written by Chris Claremont and illustrated by Jim Lee and Scott Williams, where there's those astronauts. They're trying to seek refuge on Avalon or Asteroid M, and then Magneto, he pops up at his front door and he destroys their ship, and you kind of see that splash page where he's out in space, and I kind of like how they recreate that pose. Or it's also kind of reminiscent also of that one Savage Land story, where Rogue all of a sudden gets discovered by Magneto, and at the end of the comic he's kind of in a similar pose. I don't know, a lot of nostalgia when I see this version of Magneto. Alright, so he comes with extra pair of hands, which are these fists. Alright, so first impressions. The one thing I noticed, and right when I took the figure out of the tray, is that the cape is such an improvement over some of the previous Magnetos. It feels like it's a third of the weight and a third of the mass. I love that last Jim Lee inspired Magneto figure we got some years ago. But the cape, it was just so heavy and it was unsightly. But this one, it feels like such an improvement. It still pegs into the back, but it's such a better form-fitted cape. It really conforms to his shoulders and torso so much better than the other one. I like how it kind of swoops upward also. It's very cartoon and comic book inspired in that regard. He has the large rivets around the upper chest and shoulders also, which is nice. It kind of bothered me at first that the mask wouldn't come off, but at the same time, I think the advantage of that is that it creates better proportions for the head. Like anytime you get a Magneto figure where the helmet comes off, that the helmet looks too big and the head just looks so disproportional to the figure. But in this case, I think it's just right. I love how they almost cast like a shadow underneath his eyes also because of the mask. It makes him look a little bit more nefarious. But it's a great looking figure, very clean. If you've passed up on any of the Magneto figures in the past, this one I think is, you know, more than makes up for it. Yeah, so this 97 line, one word I've used to describe all these figures so far is clean. Is clean. These figures are so clean, so well executed and crafted. If you've missed out on any of the other figures in the past, like if you don't have a Gambit figure, if you don't have a Bishop or Storm figure or Rogue, these animated series figures, they're just like the perfect figures to fill out your collection. They're just so nice and just really well done. The Magneto is like, it's almost perfect. The color palette is just right. You know, the purple and red, the shades they use, I think it's fantastic. You know, it's the right value for the colors, the contrast. It's nicely done. Very eye-catching figure. Very vibrant, especially it's trying to recreate that animated look. The body's very clean. He has the thicker belt like we've seen in the past. And he has the notched out boots and gauntlets also. So yeah, it's a near perfect Magneto. If you're missing a Magneto in your collection, this is the way to go. Again, I love the cape. The mask, it feels so much lighter and less obtrusive than the previous one. The head sculpt, let's take a look at it up close. Very clean. You have some sharp edges on the trim. Love the folds and wrinkles on the upper cape. Very elegant and smooth design. It provides for such a nice contour and character silhouette. Articulation, let's examine that up close. The head can look down. Does he look up? Yeah, that's perfect. So if you want, excuse me, if you want to recreate flying poses, you could. Articulated arms, pinless design, which is very clean on the elbows. Articulated wrists. Ab crunch is done really nice also. It's like this with the Gambit figure. It's like so seamless because it blends in with the musculature so well. Swivels at the waist, kicks up, kicks outward. Thigh cut, pinless design on the knees, very clean, and articulated ankles. Yeah, so overall, you're getting a wonderful action figure. You know, for me, this is an easy 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. It's near perfect. If you don't have a Magneto figure, this is the one for you. In some ways, I think it's superior to the previous ones. The only thing I think the older figures have is the fact that you can remove the helmet. But like I stated at the beginning of the video, I kind of feel like the advantage of having the helmet on the figure is that it's going to, proportion-wise, it's going to fit the character a lot better. You know, anytime you have a figure where you need to put the helmet on, sometimes the helmet is too big and then the figure kind of looks disproportionate at the top. You know, we've seen that before with like some like Boba Fett figures or some like Stormtroopers. But, you know, on this figure, I think it's just right. Yeah, so overall, fantastic figure. The whole line is amazing. You know, if you're a new collector and you really want to start an X-Men collection, I don't think there is a better place to start than this with the 97 line. You know, you might have missed out on some figures in the past, but these newer versions are just amazing. All right, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. And he's not focusing. Why isn't he focusing? Just give me a moment. I don't want to. I don't want to end this shot with like a blurry Magneto. I want to get him in all his glory. There, that's a nice shot right there. Yeah, so excellent figure. Oh, real quick, I'm kind of curious about the size comparison with some of the other Marvel Legends figures. I haven't done this in the other videos because for some of the Marvel Legends X-Men 97 figures, they feel kind of short. And I think I might be right. These feel like a scale smaller than the normal figures. And here he is next to X-Men Marvel Legends Vulcan. Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's if they're rescaling the figures or if it's just a case of these animated ones, but they do feel a little bit smaller than the average figures. I kind of took notice of that with Wolverine, but I didn't really think twice about it because Wolverine's a short character to begin with. But handling this Magneto, I'm like, man, he feels smaller than the normal figures. So yeah, I'm not sure if Gambit and Bishop are the same case, but Magneto, he feels a little bit shorter than he should, which you can also attribute to the fact that he's older. As you get older, you kind of shrink. But all right, enough rambling. Let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.